Alright guys, if you're watching this mother explanation video, it means you've either already seen the movie and you need some answers to what the fuck you just watched, or you just want confirmation of your own thoughts, or you just don't care about spoilers and you haven't seen the movie yet and you're just watching just because. Whatever the reason, I'm glad you're here, but if you want a spoiler-free version of my review for this movie, check out the spoiler-free version first. You have been warned. So to do this explanation, let's first set the foundation. Just like I did in my spoiler-free review, I view Javier Bardem as God, I view the house they're living in as planet Earth, I view Jennifer Lawrence as Mother Earth, and I view everyone else in there as just the rest of humanity. And this movie's plotline is basically following the Bible to a loose degree through Mother Earth's perspective. Bam.
They come, fight, they destroy, they corrupt. It always ends the same.
It only ends once. Anything that happens before that is just progress.
So this movie starts off and it's fire and it's death. And then you have Javier Bardem and he takes this crystal thing and he puts it on this mantelpiece and all of a sudden life is given. Just kind of God gave life to Earth, or whatever, however you view religion. Now you got Jennifer Lawrence. She kind of wakes up and immediately throughout this entire movie, her whole goal is to patch up this house, to make it a paradise. She's always saying, I want to make this place my paradise and make it beautiful, and all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, though, throughout the entire movie, she's always being ignored by everybody. And you have Javier Bardem's character, or God, always being idolized by everybody. They're on his every word, and they don't care what she has to say. And just like Mother Earth would do, all she cares about is patching up the holes, making sure everything's clean, giving structure to stuff. She's just trying to make it nice and tranquil and calm. And at the beginning in the movie, that's what it is. It's nice and tranquil and calm, and she's happy, and she's doing what she needs to do. And if it was up to her, it would stay that way forever. But you got Javier Bardem's character, or a God, who is frustrated. He's not complete. He feels like he needs something else there. Something's missing. Nothing's giving him inspiration. Mother Earth feels like, why can't I be enough? And I'll get to that at the end. But he feels like, nothing ever is enough. I need something more. And then what happens? You got Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer showing up to their house, or basically you have Adam and Eve showing up in the Garden of Eden. You got this beautiful place, and you got humans to fuck it up. And you can tell right away Jennifer Lawrence is very uneasy with these people coming in, acting as if it's their place. They're putting their feet up on the counter. They're smoking in the house. They're just making a mess of the kitchen. Everything's a wreck. And she's just like, can you please go away? And they don't really care what she thinks. She's like, hey, your dude's cool with us being here, so F off, so to speak. And Javier Bardem just feels like, well, where else are they going to go? We have to help them. They idolize me. And because he's written a book in the movie or whatever, and they're like super inspired by his writings, which they keep very vague for a reason, because I think it's intended to be, like the Old Testament and the New Testament when he writes something later. But anyways, they're idolizing him, and he feels like, look, we need to help them, and they need a place to stay, and they idolize me, and let's take care of them. And Jennifer Lawrence is just like, I don't think you're seeing all the fucking shit they're doing. And then you have kind of the Adam and Eve story. What happens? They fuck it up. In this movie, they break that crystal thing that Javier Bardem just cherishes because it's what helped him give life, like the tree of life, blah, blah, blah. They break this thing. It's like when they ate the fruit from the tree of life. It's the one thing he didn't want them to do. Don't touch this thing. Don't do it. But they were drawn to it. They kept being drawn to this thing. And even though Mother Earth is like, stay the fuck away from it, they fuck it up. They break it. They piss God off the first time. He is like, out of here now. And you see him frustrated and mad, and he boards up that room. They will never get in here again. Just like the Garden of Eden. And then they don't even seem that remorseful over it, because then what do? They're basically getting it on in another room. And it's like, well, there you go. There's humans for you. Let's go bang after we fucked something up. But even after that, he refuses to get rid of them. He feels like, we gotta forgive these people, whatever. And then their kids show up. And what happens when their kids show up? They don't give a shit whose house it is. They're arguing. They're all arguing with each other. They're getting violent. The two brothers start fighting. And Mother Earth is just like, can you guys take this somewhere else? Go outside. Leave this house. This is our house. They don't give a flying rat's ass. One of the brothers ends up killing the other brother, kind of like the Cain and Abel story, right? And you got this brother, he's jealous of the other brother. He feels like he's being treated unfairly, kills him outright dead, right there on the floor. You'd think that'd be a good time to be like, get the fuck out. And basically Javier Bardem is still taking care of these people. After they basically have this wake type of funeral-y thing where they're remembering the guy, and they're inviting more people over. More and more people are coming to the house, and she is getting so stressed out because every single person in this movie that comes into this house acts like it's their house. They have no regard for their personal space, their bedroom, their bathrooms. They just go use it willy-nilly. They don't give a shit if she's like, hey, this is our house. Go downstairs. Go downstairs. Who said you could be up here? And you can tell. They do a very good job at making her feel very overwhelmed in this movie. Kind of like, why is nobody listening to me? And why is my husband not seeing the same shit I am? Like, get these people out of here. Because he is overcome with feeling like every single person here idolizes me. And he feels good about that. And he feels like, these are all good people. It's okay if they break things, whatever. If things can be replaced. Yeah, well, from Jennifer Lawrence's perspective, they just don't give a fuck. And I think they portray this scene very well, where there's this counter that she's consistently telling people throughout the movie, it's not braced. People keep sitting on it. And she's like, can you get off of that, please? It is not braced. And people get annoyed, whatever they get off. Then someone else says something, can you get off of it, please? And then you can see these people, they don't give a rat's ass. They're like bouncing on it. They're like, look, it's fine. And then what happens? It fucking breaks and all this water's coming out and it's like, shit. And she loses it. She's like, get out! And then finally God's like, all right, you're right. Okay, it's getting a little out of hand here. Let's get everyone out of here. And it's raining outside and it's a very, obviously kind of like the Noah's Ark tale. Speaking of which, this guy did a movie about Noah, but obviously it's kind of like the flood, right? It's like, let's cleanse, let's kind of start this over. People, they weren't caring about the earth. They were thinking whatever they were doing wasn't a big deal, but it was. It pissed Mother Earth off. This water causes them all to leave, right? You got the Noah's Ark story to a certain extent. Obviously, it's not word for word or anything. And then for a while, you have some tranquility and peace again because everyone is gone. She's able to start fixing things up again and it's peaceful. And it's like, thank God these people are gone. And even from our own perspectives, it's like, oh God, finally all those fuckers left. Jesus. Speaking of Jesus, what happens next? She finally gets banged and fucking gets, she's like, you won't even fuck me, but you care about all these people. Well, he fucks her all right, and she gets pregnant, and then it kind of zooms forward in time. Obviously, things are good again. He feels super inspired by all the events that took place, combined with her having a kid, and he gets inspired to write again. She reads it. She thinks it's so beautiful, but she's already sent it off to the world, and everyone on the freaking planet is so in awe and inspired by whatever his writing was. You don't know what it is, but it's pretty obviously like some sort of version of some sort of religious text. And again, people start showing up to this house. Your writings inspired me. They changed me. I feel like they spoke to me. And you can tell Javier Bardem is immediately just feeling so good about all these people wanting to idolize him. And you see Mother Earth like, fuck, not again. And this is where the movie goes into fucking overdrive. Again, more and more people are rolling in, not giving a shit what she's saying. And this is where the movie goes fucking psycho. I mean, this movie goes bonkers at this point. And it's kind of like population is in general. If you take the whole history of Earth's time, there was not a lot of people. And then only recently has population been like, what? And that's kind of how it is in this movie. It's like it's kind of calm, couple people, fuck ton of people. You know what I mean? And again, you see almost every perspective of the kinds of people in this place. Some people are wanting to bang. Some people are like getting in fights. They're destroying stuff. You have people saying certain things like they're ripping something off the wall. And she's like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, I have to mark that I was here. People do that sort of stuff, on this planet. You got people painting, like a couple of random people are like painting and trying to help her fix it up, and she's like, leave it alone, I don't want your help, I just want you to go. And it's kind of like the tree huggers, you know, and the people that are always like thinking they're helping but they're not really doing anything. Meanwhile, she's looking at Javier Bardem because they're all at his word. He has the power to basically send everyone away, get the hell out of here. But he does the opposite, and he's inviting people in, like, let's share with everybody, everything is everybody's, and if things get broken, whatever, we can replace it. And you can tell she's just like, why are you letting all these people in? Don't you see all the destruction they're doing? Just like planet Earth. And then you see it go into even more overdrive, as instead of it just being crowded, now it's becoming its own fucking crazy war inside. You got people that are now worshiping other people based on what he's saying. Every little thing Javier Bardem does, they take into like its own thing. Like at one point, he kind of like wipes someone's eye with like some ink or something, and then there's this whole sect of the house where like they're in line for this one like priest like guy to be doing that on everyone's head. Just, you know, kind of like the different denominations of the same religions, how they'll kind of take it to different perspectives to a certain extent. And even though it's the same religious text, they view it differently to a certain extents, and that's kind of what's happening in this house now. They're all idolizing his text, but they're all interpreting it differently, and then they start fighting and battling and fucking arguing over who loves him more, and why they interpret things differently, and they're fighting each other, and then they're stealing stuff, and it just starts to fucking going crazy. And honestly, if you take that, what is that, like 10-20 minute section of the movie and went frame by frame, you could probably analyze every frame of that whole sequence of this craziness going on and break it down into some analytical thing. But I don't have the movie on DVD, I'm just going off of memory right now. But just realize it goes crazy, and it's basically like people are treating Earth right now, fighting each other, having sex, breaking things, trying to fix things. Basically everything you can possibly think of is happening in this house. Even some people are trying to protect Mother Earth, and then they get killed, and then something else happens, you know, and it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And Javier Bardem, God, is nowhere to be seen. He doesn't give a shit what's happening to the planet. He's being idolized, and he likes that. But then she starts to give birth to her baby, and that's when he's like, okay, no, I do need to protect you. And he helps her, he protects her, gets her into this secluded room in the house, and she gives birth. Now you got to look at this baby like Jesus Christ. Now Mother Earth does not want to give him up to God because she knows God's gonna be not smart with him and probably let him loose to the people. And he even says they want to see the kid, they want to see him. She's like, who the fuck cares? No, I'm not letting you have this baby. And she's holding on to him, and man, God, he is just staring at her, like waiting for his moment to be able to show the baby to the people. And while they're waiting, people are quiet outside. They're giving him gifts. They're just idolizing him more. And eventually she falls asleep. She wakes up, the baby's gone. Oh my God, it's out of her hands. They do this great sequence of her like, no, I gotta get the kid. And she goes out there, and the people already have control of the baby. And it's honestly a very uncomfortable sequence, because even though you know it's a movie, it is so disturbing. Because at this point in the movie, this is going to be a point where people walk out of the movie. This is going to be a point where people are disgusted with this movie and they hate this movie because this baby is killed. The neck is broken. She is distraught. Like, I knew this was going to fucking happen, and is like, what is wrong with you, God? And it's just like Jesus Christ, right? He goes to the people, he's part of God, and he gets killed, right? The people kill him. So then she's zooming through the people trying to find her baby, and you see basically the carcass of the baby there, and people are like eating it, and you know people are watching this movie going, what the fuck is happening? But you got to think of it through the biblical references, like when you drink the blood of Christ, and like that whole thing, you know, different religions have different things they do, but it's symbolic of all of that. Again, you can't take this movie too literally. It's all symbology, it's all metaphorical. Mother Earth is just pissed that basically Jesus was killed and people are devouring him. And when she lashes out, she gets mad, she starts stabbing people, she's had it. You can almost view this as like Mother Nature in hurricanes and tornadoes and volcanoes and floods. Mother Earth is lashing out at people. She's pissed. Da, 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 da. Then what happens? She gets her ass handed to her. People are kicking her ass. This is a very violent sequence. She's on her. She's like getting booted in the face, and people are kicking her and shit. And they're treating Earth like fucking shit. They feel like, you know what? Earth is fucking treating me like shit. We're going to treat it like shit. And then you finally have Javier Bardem step in and protect her. Like, what are you people doing? And she's like, can you finally get these people the fuck out of here? And he's like, no, but we have to fight. I know they killed our kid and they're destroying all the stuff and everything's fucking crazy and they're beating you up, but we have to forgive them. I remember that line hit me and I was like, oh shit, you know what? That's actually really intense, because if you think about it, people are always referring to how forgiving God is and how people can do these horrible things, but they can get forgiveness if they want it and all this stuff. And when you think about it, in terms of the metaphor of the movie, it's like, do they really deserve forgiveness? Should people really be forgiven for all the shit that we do? From Mother Earth's perspective, fuck no, get the fuck out of here. You don't deserve forgiveness. You just killed my kid. You're destroying all my stuff. You have no... Oh my God. From Mother Earth's perspective in this movie, people should not be forgiven, and God is a fucking psycho. And you can kind of tell Darren Aronofsky has this viewpoint where he cares about Earth, and people treat Earth like shit. And all they care about is idolizing God, and they don't care how Earth is treated. And to a certain extent, God doesn't care how Earth is treated. He feels like, hey, as long as I'm idolized... These people are cool. And at this point, there's no more lovey-dovey with Jennifer Lawrence's character. She loses it. There is no more... Obviously, she's not getting through to Javier Bardem. She fucking goes psycho and like the earth like cracks in half. And she goes, lights this fucking oil tanky thing on fire and fucking blows the fucking house up. I mean, it's obliterated. Everyone is destroyed. And it's basically the apocalypse, right? Mother Earth... Guess what, God, you're not stopping this shit. If you're not helping me out, then fuck you. I'm destroying all this shit. And it does. It basically starts anew. And the movie kind of ends where the movie started, because God, or Javier Bardem, he's not even hurt. He's carrying her, and she's like, what are you? And he says, I am life, and whatever. And it's at that point, it was very obvious, like, okay, so he's God, and she's Mother Earth. I don't really know how else you would interpret that. But he lays her down, and he basically goes into her body and like takes out her heart, which is throughout the movie you had felt like she would feel the house and you could see the heartbeat, like the heartbeat of the earth had slowly been dying, and now it's like this stone, and he takes it from her chest, kind of cleans it off, and he has a new stone, this new beginning of life that he just starts over. You know what? He puts it on the mantelpiece, gives life again. You see a new girl sit up, like, babe. And I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck? This is stupid. But obviously, it's just showing the cycle that God and the planet and people are just going through the same cycle over and over and over again. And Javier Bardem has a really interesting line that I can't remember exactly what he says, but Jennifer Lawrence is asking him, like, why is my love not enough? And he basically says, like, nothing will ever be enough. I'm a creator. If it was enough, I would stop creating. And it's just such an interesting thing to think about from that perspective. It's like, yeah, I mean, I guess if it was enough, why would he create anymore? Why would he do anything anymore, and all that sort of stuff? And it was just an interesting take on it. And I think that's kind of Javier Bardem's view of this movie is, it's just... all right, let's start new. Let's start fresh. Maybe it'll be different this time. But I think the hint at humanity is always just destructive and we fuck everything up. And that's your movie, guys. I want to know, what other theories do you have? Because I know there's a lot of stuff I skipped over, and there's a lot of things like, what was she putting in her drink? What was that? I'm sure there's a million theories out there. I would love to hear your thoughts and your perspectives and your theories, if you agree or disagree with me. Anything you think I missed that should be said, let me know everything you want to know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Also, remember, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Nittleman, and stay tuned for more movie reviews if you can handle it. Go.